Roofing and home repair needs, it's Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. Give my man Brandon McCullough a call at 901-438-5084. Tell him you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings, or go online to newroofmemphis.com. They offer financing with many different plans and options to choose from, including a 6, 12, or 18-month same-as-cash option. They'll work with your insurance company or out of pocket, whatever it takes to get that roof fixed. Pinnacle is part of the Roofs for Troops program. Any veteran, active or retired, you get a $250 rebate on the purchase of a new roof. Pinnacle does both residential and commercial roofing, so business owners, property managers out there, along with homeowners, if you have a leak or any other roofing problem, call Brandon today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection. They are licensed, bonded, and insured, and a member of the Better Business Bureau. If you need work around the home, they can do that as well. Carpentry work, exterior painting. They can replace gutters, put up fencing and siding, rotten wood repair. If you need shingles installed, Brandon is a certified shingle installer. This is a locally owned and operated company. It's Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration, quality work at a very reasonable price. Give Brandon a call at 901-438-5084 or go online to newroofmemphis.com.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in. Hope you're all well rested after the Memorial Day weekend. Hope it was a fun time. Chance to get together with family, eat a little barbecue or whatever it was that you did. Honor those that served us. It was outstanding for me. Busy, a lot of golf. Went to the Showboats game. Just fun. And I hope it was that way for all of you. There is a reason no team has ever come back down 3-0 in an NBA series. I'm still not exactly sure what that reason is, but odds would tell you if nobody can do it now in 151 times, it just can't happen, because this was Boston. They were the first ones ever to really have a chance at home to break that streak. You would have figured after they won Game 6 they would, but they were not in the game last night. Miami, the much better team. Some of that may have been that Jason Tatum on the opening possession turned his ankle, and in his own words, he was a shell of himself. We got a busy show today. Pete Pranica will join us in about 20 minutes or so, and he will go over why he thinks no one can ever win when they're down 3-0. That is pretty amazing, with all the chances that teams have had to do it, and no one yet has done it. I've got some medals. I'll give you that in just a couple of minutes. Tim Doolin's going to talk baseball with us. He's got a whole bunch of teams from all over the country in. His Doolin Dodgers, their national team, hosting in Millington. We'll chat with him about all of that. And, of course, the regionals are all set. And I'm going to give a medal to the SEC because their presence in this year's baseball tournament that ends in Omaha with the College World Series, it is pretty impressive for sure. J-Mo out, Zach Boyd in. J-Mo a little under the weather. Hopefully he will be back with all of us tomorrow. We'll be making our golf picks tomorrow, by the way. Jason Munz will join us tomorrow as well, because this busy week, and I heard Eli talking a lot about it, the Tigers have added Clemson as a home and home now to their basketball schedule. And when I look at this thing, I mean, it is pretty darn impressive who the Tigers are going to play. So here's the home games. Austin Peay, Alabama State, Jackson State. All right, those are your bye games. But then you've got Virginia, Clemson, Vanderbilt. So you've added this Clemson thing, which is, by the way, December the 16th. Road games against Missouri, at Ole Miss, at A&M, at VCU. Battle for Atlantis with a lot of really good teams there. So Penny is scheduling like he's going to have a pretty good team. Now, I believe it's tomorrow is the last day for those that have been trying to be pro players to say they're not going to be pro players. Maybe Jason Munz tomorrow can fill us in on what he thinks might be happening. I know Brian Dacus on Friday said he thought there would be some portal clearance that would take place this week for the Tigers. I guess you're waiting for those that were going to be pros to say, I'm not going to be pros. And maybe he will be adding some players then. So we'll be obviously taking a look at that. This is a schedule that is built for a team that's going to make the NCAA. But as it stands right now, he needs guys. I think he needs guys, although I'll say this. If you are wondering if J.J. Taylor is tied completely to Mikey Williams, because they are best of buddies, they've been teammates. In fact, he's his roommate at the house in San Diego where allegedly a gun went off at a car, right? J.J. Taylor is in Memphis on campus. He tweeted that out today. He's here. So is Ashton Hardaway. So is Carl Sharonfont. Another four-star guy. So this team still needs one or two guys. It would help to have it doesn't have to be a traditional big guy, but it's got to be a big guy a guy who can rebound and can play inside. Maybe a stretch guy, but they need rebounding. I don't know what the status of Malcolm Dandridge is going to be. He seems to be waffling a little bit on is he in the portal? Is he not in the portal? Or he is in the portal, but you can still go back to your team if you so choose. And I suspect by the end of this next week here, we will have a better sense of where the Tigers will be personnel-wise. But with this schedule, sure seems to me he needs one or two key guys, particularly somebody inside to do the rebounding and dirty work, if this team is to be an NCAA team. But I think right now, as it stands, if you look at the personnel, certainly going to be an NIT team. But I think after 2 straight years of going to the NCAA, no one is going to be happy about an NIT team. So we'll see what happens. It'll be a big week, I think, for Penny Hardaway and his guys. So I'm sitting in the Family Leisure studio, and I think you got 2 more days, maybe till this next weekend, for the Vacation at Home sale, where pools are their lowest prices in any place you might look in town. Free liner upgrades for your pool if you get it during the sale. Spas, patio furniture, a huge stock. Even the play gyms are now on sale for under $2,000. There's still special financing available, and if you mention us, Sports 56, you get half off the installation. That is big, especially if you're getting like those play gyms. I always say, with the kids in mind, get the pros to put that in. And our title sponsors, Homer, that is Homer Skelton Hyundai, right there at Highway 78, Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi Craft Road. And in that particular spot, they are doing a deal for you on Genesis cars. And keep in mind, not every Hyundai dealership can sell Genesis cars. But when you are as good as Chris True's group is, you do. And they've got an incentive for you on the G70. That's the smaller Genesis luxury car. It's a rocket ship of a car. You finance with Genesis. Why wouldn't you? It's a good rate. They'll give you a $1,000 rebate. They're paying you to do business with them at Homer Skelton Hyundai. On Mondays, but it's Tuesday, that's our first day of the week, we do a thing we call Precious Metals. I got to give a bronze medal to SEC baseball. Probably should be a higher medal than that, honestly. You realize there are, 14 teams in the SEC, correct?
Yes.
14 teams. 10 made it to the NCAA baseball tournament. 10. 8 of them are hosting the regionals.
So you mean to tell me that 85% of the SEC teams are in the NCAA tournament.
I am telling you that very fact. 10 of them. 10 out of 14 made the tourney. 8 of them will be playing in their home ballpark. I believe, and we'll go over this again with Tim Doolin, who joins us at 10:45. He said 4 would make it to the College World Series in Omaha. That would be half the field, right? 8 teams make it to the College World Series. It's truly a dominating year for the SEC. It's not the first time they've had 10 in either. I think it's the second time they have had that many that have made the tournament. So they absolutely get a bronze medal. I got to give a bronze medal to Emiliano Grillo. He's the South American who overcame a double bogey on the 18th hole at Colonial, not the one in Cordova, but the one in Fort Worth, Texas, and was able to win in a playoff over Adam Schenk. I still think about this, and Adam Schenk's a really good player, but it's hard to imagine a guy named Schenk would be a great golfer, because you know what a Schenk is, don't you? Club face wide open, thing goes straight right if you're a right-handed golfer. You don't want a Schenk. In the meantime, Schenk hit one over the green, and I must say Grillo hit a shot that was very fortunate. It hit the side, could have been in the bunker. It hit in the rough, which softened it, and rolled about 4 or 5 feet from the pin. Great shot, and he wins in a playoff. So it's 7 years, actually 7 2/3 years, between Emiliano Grillo's first win and his second win. So congratulations to him. I got to give a silver medal to the EYBL event. Did I call that IBL?
No.
Is that it's EYBL?
EYBL.
They don't even say IBL.
It makes sense to say it,
They should be able to say IBL, in my opinion.
but it's EYBL.
It's elite.
It's like elbow, but it's, the restaurant elbow,
Yeah.
but it's
Oh, yeah.
L and a bow. So
Well, it's Elite Youth Basketball League. And they were in town. And by the way, that meant millions of dollars to the economy with all these elite players from all over the country in. Of course, there were 4 or 5 EYBL events each year, culminating in the Peach Jam, which is
Yes.
always in Augusta, Georgia, or right next to Augusta, Georgia.
yes,
And Memphis got this because they have the brand new Memphis Sports and Event Center, which is in Liberty Park, right by Tiger Lane. And apparently it was a huge success. Carmelo Anthony was here. A lot of people thought that LeBron James was going to come to see his son play. He did not come, but there was a big watch for him. And apparently great crowds, great time had by all, good security, no cars got broken into, nothing that would leave a black eye on the city. And you've got high hopes that event will come back. Now, they rotate, other than Augusta and Peach Jam, they rotate those cities on a fairly regular basis. But Memphis hopes on a sort of regular basis, not every year, that they would be in that rotation of events that lead up to the Peach Jam. So apparently it was a success. I give them a silver medal. I give the Memphis Showboats, who won their 4th in a row, got revenge on their, you could call them roommates at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. They beat the Houston Gamblers, got revenge on them, and now, other than Birmingham, who's 5-2, everybody else in that division, New Orleans, Memphis, and Houston, are 4-3. So the Showboats have their fate in their own hands. If they win out, they're going to be the winners. They're going to play Birmingham. And they got 3 games left. 2 are at home. This next one is at New Jersey, which is really Canton. And apparently, New Jersey is not very good. They're under 500, and their quarterback got hurt. So the Showboats are going to be huge favorites in that game. And it was fun to watch. I mean, the combination, there's two players there that really help win this game. On offense, Derek Dillon again made a huge play, a 64-yard touchdown pass with a great move. He's their big play guy. He's the guy that had the kick six return for 109 yards. By the way, he's from LSU, Power 5 guy. The force inside was a guy named John Atkins, who is a defensive lineman from Georgia, Power 5 guy, SEC guy, just like Dillon.
I sense a trend.
Well, look at schools, and usually that helps. If you are a guy, and this is, I think, Dave Rosano, the GM of the Showboats, I think it's part of his philosophy now. He really wants guys, not necessarily that say SEC or Power 5 next to their name, that helps, but if they've had any time in any NFL camps, if they've been a scout team player, practice player, whatever they call that, used to be
Practice squad.
yeah, used to be, there was a different name for it, but that's what it is now. It's practice squad. If you're on that, they make good money.
Yeah.
Practice squad players. You'd be surprised. A lot more money than they're making in the USFL. But if your name is next to any kind of NFL, including the practice squad, that means you're older, you're more experienced, you've been around guys that really know how to play the game, and those are the kind of guys you're going for. Or you're going for somebody who played in the SEC or Power 5, came from a school where there's a lot of success because those guys normally know how to play the game. So the two stars in this, and I don't want to take anything away from Vinny Papalo, who, his dad, Vincent Papalo, was, what was it called, Indestructible or something like that? He was with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
Was a special teams guy, became a wide receiver, and had a really good NFL career.
Mm-hmm.
This is his son, who played at Delaware. He was terrific in this game. He's their punt returner, too. But Dillon and John Atkins were the differences in this game. And so Showboats can make the playoffs. It was a lot of fun. Game came down to the end where the defense had to do their deal, and they've been terrific. And then, of course, gold medal goes to Miami. The Heat are now the second number 8 seed ever to make an NBA Finals. This is truly a great story. I mean, think about it. This team lost its first play-in game. That's why it's an 8 seed under the new current system. I believe they had problems in the second game, too. The second play-in game where Jimmy Butler had to rescue him.
Yeah.
31 points over Chicago, I think it was.
Yeah, they were down. They were down in that second game, too.
And so you're on the verge of being eliminated in 2 play-in games, and now you're in the finals? And there's a lot of discussion, let me put it that way, that Caleb Martin should have been the MVP. I think if you just looked at the Boston series, you could make that case. But if you look at the Eastern Conference playoffs, because, right, you're the Eastern Conference playoff MVP. If you go back to all the games, Jimmy Butler rescued him in that second play-in game. Without him, there's not that first series. I think if you ask yourself this, too, could Miami be in the finals without Jimmy Butler? What's your answer?
No.
Could Miami be in the finals without Caleb Martin?
No.
I think they could.
You think so?
I look, I don't want to belittle him. He was critical to their success. I love the guy. And on the Miami, on the Boston series, I might have picked him just on that series. But I don't believe they could have gone and won all the series that they did. They could do it a lot easier without Caleb Martin than they could without Jimmy Butler. That's how I would have directed my thought process in picking Jimmy Butler as the MVP.
I can see that. I just think and I told this to Eli last week. When it comes to Jimmy Butler and the playoffs, it's just it's like this mystical world where Jimmy just coasts for 82 games, and then he realized like, oh, all these games matter, and then it's just a 180 switch, and it's like he becomes this fantastic player like within weeks.
He's an interesting guy. Now, it took 2 years for him to get off the bench in Chicago when Tom Thibodeau was the coach. He couldn't get in. And now, he's a superstar.
Crazy.
It is. And I think you're right. There's some sort of switch that goes on. Last night was critical, too. Honestly, when they lost Game 6 the way they lost Game 6, because I'm still not sure why the time was taken from 2.1 to 3. That bothers me. And then all the momentum swings. You're going to Boston. The Celtics they're going to do something no one has ever done before. And, if you match up this team player for player, you know darn well they're the better team. Well, they have more stars. Let me put it that way. They have more talent, but they're not the better team. Because it turned out the role players, like Martin, like Duncan, all those guys played Strauss. All those guys played fantastic.
They play their role.
And teams win. Stars can lose if they don't play better as a team. And I do feel bad for Jason Tatum because he was clearly not himself. He got hurt. And you could see he was limping. That was not any kind of a fake job.
He was still making shots, man.
Yep. My Ross goes to Chicago baseball teams.
That's it?
Well, think about this. Collectively, the Cubs and the White Sox are now 45-64. They're both in fourth place in their respective divisions. It is not even June, and they're out of the playoffs. I think you have to give Chicago baseball a rust. Those are our medals. They're brought to you in part by Ken. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken knows it's a big commitment you're making. Financially, emotionally, you're building that dream home. You've made a huge decision, and he wants to work closely with you to ensure you get exactly what you should expect. Quality construction, on time, on budget. That's what he's been doing. His dad before him, 2 generations of Ken Garland Custom Home Builders throughout our metropolitan area. Just these beautiful mansions or renovations where they've taken an older home and put all the modern amenities in because you didn't want to move. You love your spot, but you want everything that's brand new. Well, Ken is the best guy for that. Go to kengarland.com to see what I'm talking about. Then call 901-751-1632. He's fun to talk to. Sees little details, big picture all at once. He's the perfect builder for you. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. All right, I want to do this really quick while we're in the break. We have been able to secure, and several other shows are doing this, we have been able to secure 2 tickets, or I'm giving away 2 tickets, to Lady A at the Gardens Saturday night. So for the third caller at 901-360-8255 on our listener line, the third caller at 901-360-8255, you've got 2 tickets to see Lady A at the Gardens on Saturday night. You can be the hero for your significant other just by calling 901-360-8255. Third caller gets tickets to Lady A. We're back in a minute. Pete Pranica is going to join us as you listen to Wolo and Friends.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
The Showboats are back in Memphis.
Oh, we can't wait to have you for the USFL.
Let's go. Get your seats now for this weekend's home game.
Here we go.
Be a part of the new era of pro football at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium as the Showboats seek to reclaim their USFL legacy. Tickets start at just $10, so bring the whole family. And don't miss the Showboats' exciting matchup.
It's a touchdown!
Buy your tickets today at theusfl.com.
'Tis the season to get in a new ride from Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. Get unparalleled power in 2023 Dodge Charger SXT, $30,535 or $419 a month. That's $5,000 off MSRP. Let freedom roam in 2023 Jeep Wrangler Sport 4x4 two-door. We Gossett at $35,545 or $498 a month. It's a game changer in 2023 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab 4x4, $12,000 off MSRP. You won't find a better deal anywhere else, and if we don't have it, Gossett will order it today. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motorcars.
Charger Wrangler 3500 down, 5.19 for 75 months. Charger PH 504816 MSRP 35535. Wrangler PW 6711899 MSRP 38045. 1500 PN 619 MSRP 67250. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/2023 with approved credit dealer stock only.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
A big hearty congratulations to Robert Cushman. Robert is the winner of the Lady A ticket giveaway live at the Garden. Boy, it's going to be fun. Hope the weather's going to be terrific. Anything like it has been so far, you are going to have a delightful time, Robert. Lady A is terrific, and we thank all the people at the Live at the Gardens event, the Botanic Gardens, for supplying us with the ability to give you guys some tickets. We're about to talk to our good friend, the TV voice of the Grizz. That would be Preet Pranica. He comes your way in a second. Brought to you by Memphis Parks and Public Golf. And we know what an investment they have made. I can't wait. It's coming very, very soon. In fact, I believe Friday is a soft opening of Pine Hill. Can't wait for that. Can't wait to see the parent-child tournament June 17th at Overton Park. Going to try to get my son and I in that. Any ages. I'm sure they're going to flight it different ways, but you can get in on June 17th for this beautiful scramble at Overton Park. And don't forget, the 17th, July 10th through the 13th, it is. The Overton Park Junior Open will be the 75th anniversary of that. All kinds of good competitions going on with Memphis Public Golf this year, just like it is every year. Well, it seems like every time there is a chance for a team to come back from 3-0, it never gets done. Pete Pranica, you are the best observer of all these things for us. Tell me, why has what is it, 151 times now this has occurred? It's amazing to me, seriously, that no team has ever come from down 3-0.
Well, it is, and here's a trivia note for you. I was on the broadcast team for the last team that came from 0-3 down to force the seventh game, Portland against Dallas, and that was Zach Randolph's coming out party. Now, Boston is the only team of the four that had home court for Game 7, so there's part of that. Usually when a team goes down 0-3, they're a lower seed.
Right.
and so it's going to be harder for them to win 4 in a row and then to take a Game 7 on somebody else's home floor. So I think there's a little bit of that. I remember Game 7. It was on national NBC, so I couldn't do it locally. Nick Van Exel went crazy from 3-point land and ended up winning the series for Dallas. Look, if you have two really quality teams, it's hard for somebody to beat somebody 4 times in a row. All things being equal, that's barring a major injury or some other thing. So it's just really hard to win 4 games in a row against a quality opponent. And in Miami, I know they're an 8 seed. I know they lost their first play-in game, but they're a very, very well coached basketball team.
Oh, they are. It's amazing to me that they did beat Boston, though. Considering Boston had all the momentum going, they win the game in Miami to get to a Game 7. Like you said, they're the first ones that have a home court advantage to pull off this feat. If you just look at sheer talent, they appear to be the better team that way. Not as a team, but as individuals. And yet they couldn't pull it off, and it wasn't even close. Now, some of that, I think, you tell me, had to do with the injury to Tatum on the opening possession.
I don't think there's any question, that the injury to Tatum was a factor, but Jaylen Brown had one of the worst games of his career, certainly from a turnover perspective. I think that the deciding factor in this game is complementary guys, particularly Caleb Martin for Miami, were better than Boston's complementary guys. And I think also you have a 34-year-old first-time head coach against Eric Spoelstra, who should be going to the Hall of Fame because he's an excellent coach. And I know for so many years we've kind of rolled our eyes when they say heat culture. Well, you know what? This was an example of heat culture and a team really sticking together, playing team basketball. And I was texting back and forth with some of the other members of our broadcast crew last night, and I'm saying, I really don't know what Boston is trying to get accomplished offensively. It just didn't seem like a lot of rhyme or reason to it, a lot of one-on-one. And throughout the course of this playoff run for Boston, there have been games where they have, like, what are you guys doing? And they've blown games that certainly they should have won. And when you look at, games 1 and 2 of this series, they blew leads in both of those. And then in Game 3, they just failed to show up. So that had been kind of the caveat with this Boston team. Super talented, 2 All-NBA players, but sometimes they just seem to have brain freezes or just get in their own way. And unfortunately for them, last night it happened at the absolute worst possible time. The injury to Tatum was a factor. Maybe he needed to go for 51 like he did against Philadelphia.
Right.
I don't know.
You mentioned the heat culture, and it all began with Pat Riley. And Pat Riley is still, at least all the playoff games, he's there, even on the road. What is his input with Spoelstra? Do you think that they meet and he gives them, special insight, or does he just sort of sit back and let Spoelstra do his thing?
I would imagine by this point he lets Spoelstra do his thing. Spoelstra's he's won the rings. I mean, he's been through the fire before, so I don't know how much more Riley can tell him, but it's good to have a sounding board. And one of the things that Miami has as part of their culture is we want you to hate playing us because we're going to play harder. We're going to be more physical. Every single year, Wolo, they lead the league in charges taken. They even put it in their game notes, which very few teams do. They take great pride in that. And so, those are all the fingerprints of Pat Riley. But as far as day to day, I think you let Spoelstra do his thing because clearly he's very good at it.
A lot of discussion on who should have been the MVP of the Eastern Conference Series here. Should it have been Jimmy Butler, the winner, or should it have been the guy off the bench, Caleb Martin, who was sensational?
I would have voted for Caleb Martin, but I think name brand recognition and the beer commercials, you got to go with Jimmy Butler because he's their star. And when you talk to the people in the Heat organization, and I have some very, very good friends on their broadcast crew, they rave about Jimmy Butler and what he means to this team. That he is really the heartbeat of this basketball team, and I think. He has kind of such a hard-nosed nature about him, a no-nonsense work ethic that didn't really work in Philadelphia, didn't really work in Minnesota, and he's really found, I think, an organization that fits his sensibilities, as it were, and I think that's why he's been so effective for him.
I want to talk a little bit Miami and Denver, which is an overwhelming favorite. In fact, Game 1, which is Thursday night.
Yep.
The Celtics are Celtics. The Nuggets are 8.5-point favorites in that game, and I think for the series minus 360 Denver. But first, I want to ask you about some of these changes here. Nick Nurse to Philly. He's going to be the head coach for that bunch, including Embiid. And apparently Embiid was really attractive because Nick Nurse was so attractive, he could have had either this job or the Phoenix Suns job, according to Woj.
Well, I mean, Nick Nurse is an outstanding coach. I mean, he's won a championship. He is one of the more innovative thinkers, I think, among NBA head coaches. He will junk up games with different defenses. He's not afraid to go zone. He's not afraid to go matchup zone. He's not afraid to do pretty much anything to try to mess up the game. Had a conversation with a basketball person whose opinion I respect, and they said, you know what? They got rid of Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers made the adjustments. The players got to execute the adjustments. So, Nick Nurse is going to have them probably making a lot of adjustments and doing a lot of things. So, coaches coach, but players got to play. And coaches can drop the best play in the world on the whiteboard, but if the guys in short pants don't make it happen, it doesn't matter how good the coach is.
You know what? Nick Nurse must be special because he had two teams vying for him. He could make his pick. And then his assistant ends up getting the job in Milwaukee, Adrian Griffin, to take over for Budenholzer.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting in that Milwaukee, the championship window is certainly open for them and did not go maybe with somebody who's been more established. Now, having said that, you talk to people around the league, they feel that Adrian Griffin should have been head coach years ago. They feel that highly about his basketball acumen and his quality as a communicator. So a surprise a little bit that Milwaukee goes for a first-time head coach, but like I said, a lot of people really respect Adrian Griffin as a basketball coach and felt that he had been passed over for some jobs that he probably should have gotten earlier.
I'm happy for him. I love it when the guy gets a shot. I'm sad a little bit for Doc Rivers because Doc Rivers 16 straight winning seasons. Obviously, the players didn't love him because you would have thought Embiid or somebody there, including Harden, could have saved his job if they really wanted to. Apparently, they did not. What happens to Doc Rivers?
I think Doc plays a lot of golf. maybe goes back into the media. I mean, he was a very good analyst.
He was.
I think people forget, and you go back and you look at the Derek Fisher shot for the Lakers against San Antonio. Remember Al Michaels did the finals with Doc Rivers?
Wow.
That was quite a while ago.
I do. That's so funny that you say that because I remember Doc doing it and thought Doc was really good, but I didn't remember that Al Michaels was an NBA Finals announcer.
Yeah, I think he did it for 1 year for ABC, and that was just after ABC ESPN had gotten the contract. I think Brad Nessler was the lead announcer for 1 year, and then ultimately Al Michaels ended up working. But in any event, I think Doc, if he wants, could get another gig, or he could just say, you know what, I'm going to take a break, and maybe he takes a gap year and plays a lot of golf and does some media, and maybe there's another turn on the carousel for him.
I think he's probably deserving of it, but I like him, so I'm a little biased, I guess. All right, Nuggets.
Yeah, I've had a chance to work with Doc a little bit on the officiating advisory council. I have great respect for Doc Rivers. I love Doc Rivers, but maybe he'll get another chance, maybe not.
Hope so. All right, Nuggets and Miami. Obviously, Denver, the big favorite. They're the 1 seed against the 8 seed. I don't know what the Knicks didn't win it in '99. They're the only other 8 seed to get to the finals.
Right. Yeah, they lost to San Antonio in that lockout year, which was just kind of a crazy year anyway. Denver's the better team. I think it will be interesting to look at Game 1 and see where Miami's psyche is at. Obviously, you feel good having gotten to the NBA Finals, but that was it was a struggle. You know, they got the first 3, then lost 3, and then had to win a game 7 on the road, and then fly directly from Boston to Denver. You know, I think that's going to take a toll, and it's incumbent upon Denver to jump on them early and establish that home court environment, which in Denver is absolutely sensational, and to say nothing of the altitude.
Right.
So, I like Denver to get off to a good start, and after that, if you're looking for a prediction, I'm thinking Denver 5 or 6, maybe 6 if Caleb Martin continues to play as well as he's been playing.
Right. I see a terrible matchup problem for them with Jokic. Who can possibly guard him? Adebayo's going to get the assignment, right?
I would imagine so, but you know it's not a big Miami team. They do not have a lot of length, so I think it's a very difficult matchup for Miami. But if there's a coach that can kind of figure something out, it would be Eric Spoelstra.
No doubt. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure there'll be a lot of eyeballs starting Thursday night. We'll talk about it in your usual time next Wednesday. Thank you, Pete. We appreciate it.
All right. Sounds good, Wolo.
That's the TV voice of the Grizz. That is Pete Pranica on the NBA. He's brought to you in part by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and, of course, the famous Energy Saver Super Tune-Up. 16 points of efficiency. They go into your system, tune them all up. This is really important because, hate to say it, we are on the verge of June. The big man upstairs, he ups the thermostat. It gets hot. You do not want your system to break down and your family's boiling in their house. Come on. $69. It's preventative medicine. Call 384-3511. They'll also clean up the outside units. Everything is about efficiency. It saves you money on your MLGW bill and makes your system last longer. 384-3511. Ask for that tune-up from Conway Services. Back in just 1 minute, we talk baseball with Tim Doolin. He's got a bunch of people from all over the country in Millington. We talk about that and the College World Series. Tim Doolin comes your way in a minute.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Getaway Sports Bar, the best kept secret in town, open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garvin, the owner, created this SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Rack them up on 6 pool tables. Coldest beer in town, grab you a pool stick and get you some good bar grub. 100% Angus burgers, big and moist chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. with long neck domestics, $2.25. Getaway Sports Bar, 4632 Winchester.
Los Cabos is famous for their authentic Mexican food, great steak fajitas, enchilada tacos, and unbelievable seafood freshly flown in from crab legs to shrimp, and Los Cabos handcrafted margaritas. Come watch your favorite game. 4 locations to choose from: Quince, Bartlett, Germantown, and Goodman Road. Take advantage of the Los Cabos Daily Happy Hour specials. Monday and Tuesdays, 2-for-1 margaritas on the rocks from 3 to 7 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday from 3 to 7 p.m., Margaritas Jumbo, $6.99, Flavored Margarita Jumbo, $7.99, and House Wine, $4. Los Cabos Weekend Special is Jumbo Lime Margaritas, $6.99. Come to Los Cabos, best Mexican sports bar in town. Get a Sports 56 beer and lunch special starting at $7. Daily beer specials, all draft beer, 16-ounce, $2.99. Los Cabos, the best Mexican sports bar in town.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Memphis attorneys. 6000 Poplar Avenue, Suite 225, Memphis, Tennessee, 38119.
Get ready to command the road in a new ride from Gossett Kia on the Pike. Go the road less traveled in 2023 Kia Seltos LX. $263 a month, $29.99 due at signing. 2023 Kia Sportage LX, $288 a month, $34.99 due at signing. And 2023 World Performance Car, 2023 Kia EV6 Wind. EPA estimated range 310 miles, $499 a month, $49.99 due at signing, all 36-month leases. Plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage. Seltos P745, 8378, MSRP 23996. Sportage P7173, 696, MSRP 27077. EV6 P5105073, MSRP 49965. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax on the license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/23. Dealer stock only. Warranties and limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Well, we talked earlier today about the EYBL, the Elite Youth Basketball League that was in town. Big money raiser for the economy. Millions of dollars, they say. Tim Doolin does the same sort of thing, although he's got everybody in Millington this weekend. Folks from, I think, all over the country are here. Is that correct, Tim Doolin? Good morning.
Yeah, we got about 150 of our guys that play on our national teams from 13 and up. We brought them in on big buses on Sunday, and we're kind of running like a spring training type of an event at USA Stadium. Obviously, if you haven't been out here in a while, you need to get out here. They've got 9 fields. Obviously, the stadium field that was the former USA training site.
Right.
And then we'll culminate it this starting on Thursday with a big tournament where teams from all over the Southeast are coming into play that'll go through this weekend. So great time. We're getting a lot of work done. Great weather, and it's good to be home. I actually grew up here and played for Millington Telephone, and the things that Babe Howard instilled in myself and amongst a lot of other players through the years is obviously I think he'd be upstairs smiling.
So you've got 150 guys from your various teams, and now
right.
How many other teams from around the country are then coming to take on your guys?
I don't know the exact number, but I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of 60-plus teams probably.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That's big time for Millington. Are they all staying in Millington or some of them downtown
Yeah,
Memphis?
they're working on trying to get more hotels. I mean, we're actually rented out a full entire hotel for all of our players. But I'm sure they're staying in better parts of Memphis, probably the Wolf Chase area, as well as probably a few people downtown. But downtown's not that far from here, and obviously we're gonna take advantage of Miramichi and play some golf the next couple of days with some of our coaches, and then get a full blown Memphis experience.
That is a nice reward for any coach to get to go play Miramichi. I played it a couple of days ago, and it is starting to get in great shape. The greens, by the way, are fantastic. All right, let me switch gears here and get to one of your favorite things every year was the College World Series. So it starts with the NCAA baseball tournament. The best 8 teams get to Omaha here in about a week and a half. In the meantime, this is amazing. Out of 14 SEC teams, 10 are in the field. 8 are hosting. Is the SEC that good?
I tell you what, Wolo, it doesn't even do the conference justice. It's just such a difficult league, and now you've got, you got such premium arms and really, really good young players that are choosing not to go and start their journey to the big leagues out of high school because the SEC is so good and competitive. It's almost like the SEC is a higher level of the minor leagues, but yet players can choose to go to play in venues like they can. And the NIL money makes it even more attractive for them in lieu of starting their pro career playing on the backfields in spring training. So It's a remarkable league, and obviously the toughest league in the country.
Well, I was going to say, for instance, a guy like DeAndre Williams last year. I'm going to guess, and I'm going to say DeAndre Williams made $300,000 last year with NIL money. So he couldn't go to a league last year that would have paid him that much money. I'm assuming that if you're a guy who's not going to get big bonus money to sign, it makes sense to get the bigger NIL money than you could make playing in some minor league city where no one shows up and you ride in a bus than the way you would be playing for an SEC team with huge 13,000 capacity crowds and big time facilities.
Well, no, all those things are 100% accurate, but it's no different than really what's more relative than all that. Those are just good advantages of choosing the college route, especially in the Power Five and the SEC. It's to the point of if you're scheduled out of high school, let's just say you're going to go somewhere in the third to sixth round out of high school. Well, you can make not the exact amount, but you can make really good money going to that school and getting paid NIL, and then better your stock over the next couple of years to prove to the pro teams that you're more valuable than what they evaluated you at out of high school. So in doing that, you're getting paid, you're making money, you're, like, to your point, you're getting some of your education knocked out, and you're playing at a high level. So when you do start that pro career out of college, you can skip those entry levels to where you wouldn't have been able to out of high school. And they're making if I paid you $300,000 or a pro team paid you out of high school, you have one bad season and they'll release you, and then you're done. So it's an easier way for these guys to sell it from a recruiting standpoint. And it makes a lot of sense for them to do that.
And you can really develop and have some bad half a year.
That's right.
And still have a chance. When I was in college in the 70s at SU, we had good teams, made College World Series. I think back in those days, that was considered like maybe lower single A in terms of quality of baseball and talent. What would you say if you're an SEC player now and you're playing in that kind of competition? How could you liken that to a minor league level?
Well, it's pretty simple in most cases. So a Friday night starter in the SEC is a guy that's probably equivalent to a double-A arm, which is really good. Saturday guy's going to be somewhere between a middle A to high A guy, and then Sunday it drops off. Obviously, as you get deeper into the weekend, midweek is probably not maybe comparable to a little bit of maybe rookie ball. But from a position player standpoint, if you're putting up numbers in the SEC, then your hitters typically don't start out as high, but they could start out in high A, which is a full season A. You're playing in front of fans. You're not going, out of college to start out on the backfields with a lot of young players. So, there's no doubt it's the toughest league in the country.
Last week, or maybe it was the week before, you predicted 4 teams from the SEC would be in Omaha. I don't think you thought there would be 10 teams, 8 hosting in this regional round.
I didn't.
So do you want to up the ante? How many do you think end up in Omaha?
I still think it's going to be 4. One of the teams that really had a great year this year that's really kind of got me a little concerned is LSU. They've got arguably probably one of the top 2 or 3 pitchers in the country named Skeen, big right-hander, 6'7", throws 100 miles an hour, and he's been pitching good lately, but not great. And if you get to LSU's bullpen, then they've given up some runs and had trouble. I'm a little concerned about them advancing to Omaha if they get into trouble. And if Skeen doesn't pitch really well, offensively they're as good as any team in the country. But like we talk on the show all the time, is pitching and defense is going to shut down good hitting sometimes. Even though you're using aluminum bats, it still does.
It's interesting because honestly, their first opponent is going to be Tulane. And if you had asked me a week and a half ago, I would have said no way Tulane's going to even make it. Memphis beat them in their last series to get to the seeding that they got in the AAC tournament. I mean, what a shock! They were the 7th seed in that tournament.
Yeah, and so it'll be interesting to see. Well, Tulane's not very good. They just happened to get hot. East Carolina, who they played in the championship, already knew they were going to be hosting, and so they weren't going to burn up any arms that would have hurt them for this coming weekend. And Tulane just outslugged them. So that kind of threw a wrench in some teams that were hoping to get in a regional with better records and better RPIs because conference champions, the tournament go in. So what'll be interesting to see is LSU goes and starts skiing on Friday just to make sure they win, or do they throw a secondary arm thinking they're going to just outslug Tulane, which that's a tough thing to do, but they might do it.
What about Tennessee as a 2 seed in Clemson?
That's going to be. I think that you really got two teams in Tennessee and Clemson that obviously will come out of that. And regionals are tough. You don't want to get in the losers bracket day one. So winning that first game is going to be critical. Really, to me, the second game you play, if you win the first one, is really the championship game, because then if you win that, you got to get beat twice. And so I think that Clemson under a new coach used to be at Vandy years ago. Then he went to Michigan and did a great job at Michigan, and he's really overachieved this year in his first year at Clemson, and Clemson's always had good baseball. So that regional is going to be a very interesting regional to watch.
How about Alabama hosting as a 1 seed? And this is, a program that was rocked by a scandal with fixing games by their coach.
Yep. Well, what's interesting is Alabama really, really pitches it and plays solid defense, and that's why you're seeing them host this regional, and I think they've got a good chance to win it. And they're playing really hard for their interim head coach, who is their pitching coach. And it'll be also very interesting to see if Alabama gives him a shot and names him the head coach, or they're going to go out and get another guy. And what's crazy about that, Wolo, is if they don't hire him, you're going to see other schools that have openings try to hire him as their pitching coach. And guess what he's bringing? He's going to bring arms with him. They're going to get in the portal and leave.
Right.
So you got to be really careful in today's college baseball culture on who you hire, and you better go through all the what-ifs because they're happening.
Arkansas, Vandy, Florida, they're all number 1 seeds. So South Carolina. A&M's the 2 seed. Who are the 4 that are going to make it from your predictions?
Well, I think Florida's going to make it. I think that Vandy's going to make it. South Carolina, it played really well early. They had some injuries. They're getting those guys back. I don't know if they're going to be able to put it all together to come out of this, a regional and super regional. A&M, little thin. They played really good as of late, and they're hot right now. I don't know that they've got enough to get to Omaha. So I think LSU is going to be a question mark, but they're one of those teams that I think has the talent to get into Omaha as well.
It'll be fun to watch. Have a great time this whole week in Millington, and we will chat again next Tuesday. Thank you, my friend.
All right. Bye-bye.
That is Tim Doolin on baseball. He's brought to you by Matt Eflin and his entire insurance team. Matt Eflin knows that to protect you, he's got to get to know you. It's a collaborative thing with him and his entire group, guys there like Grant, Andrew, Heath. They're all there to get to know you, to really better protect you. Find out what your budget is, get to know your family, and then pick out the perfect insurance for life or auto or even your mortgage, your home insurance. They get to know you and pick out the right thing to protect you. And if you got a small to mid-sized business, oh my goodness, they are perfect with that as well. That's their specialty. They'll give you commercial insurance once they know your product, who your employees are, what you're all about, what's your budget, and then they find the right way to protect you. That's the Eflin Insurance Team. Big Tiger supporters in their number. They've got GUR. It's 901-386-GUR, which is 4777. That's the number for the Eflin Insurance Team. Big show tomorrow. We got golf picks as usual. We will also be talking with TJ Reeves and Munzie on what's going to happen with the portal. That'll be at about 10:15. Busy show tomorrow. Johnny Radio's next. Have a great day, everyone.